Hi, I'm Jen Coyne, host of KXRW's Authenticity Matters. World Kindness Day isn't just about being kind on one day of the year, but the focus of the day is how to be more kind throughout the year. I'm here today with my business partner, Brian Stinson, to talk about kindness, why it matters, what changes need to be made, and how you can infuse more kindness into your life. Brian, the Peak Fleet's name, the K in Peak, actually stands for kindness. Why was it so important to include kindness as one of the organizational values?
I don't think it was a deliberate decision to necessarily to choose kindness. I almost feel like kindness chose us. And once we landed on kindness as one of the 4 values that made up our company name, it really did become a no-brainer. The more time that passed, the more that we spent time with it, it seemed like a very good complement to the other 3 values.
Right. And so why don't you tell us what the other 3 values of PEAK stand for?
PEAK is an acronym for persistence, empathy, authenticity, and kindness. And one of the things that we've kind of discovered is while the P, the persistence, is very common in the world of business, it's the eek that people are really craving today.
Yeah, for sure. And I think back to what you were saying about like kindness choosing us, it felt like in today's world, and while it seems like a no-brainer to be kind, it seems like with the rise of social media that it's become more and more difficult or less automatic or natural just to be kind.
It does seem like there's a lost art of kindness, or it seems to be something from bygone days. And I don't know if it's because of the news cycle and the competition for eyeballs and social media that it's typically the opposite of kindness that gets the headlines. But when it comes to kindness, it's something that I feel like we've just forgotten to do. I don't know if it's the fast-paced nature of the world today, or the life in big cities, or again what tends to grab headlines or eyeballs for the news. Stories about bad things that have happened.
Yeah, I have a theory. Do you want to hear my theory?
Sure.
I mean, I think we come from a background of places where metrics, were just like the thing, right? And we always would say something like, you make progress on what you measure, right?
True, yeah.
And I feel like there's a lack of reward. There's a lack of people valuing kindness. It's always about like, what's the next thing that we have to get done? We're just so caught up in the schedule and delivering things and being productive that like kindness and consideration doesn't always factor in.
I think there's a perception that being kind or small talk or things, niceties, takes away from getting work done.
Right.
I could see how someone might fall into that trap. Although what we know is investing a little bit of time in being kind will actually speed everything else up over the long run.
100%. You've got to make that investment in the relationship.
So yeah, it's either short-term efficiency or long-term productivity.
Right.
I think part of it is most people perceive kindness or an act of kindness as something that's going to take me time or money.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always time to say, hey, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the love languages, if people are familiar with that, there are gifts or acts of service and things like that can be kind things to do. But words of affirmation is one of the love languages. And especially if someone feeds off of that as what really makes them feel good, heck, like it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
As we are talking about Kindness Day and the value of kindness, do you have any good stories on kindness or any tips or suggestions for integrating more kind acts into your daily life?
I feel like it's worth spending time thinking about the simple ways, the easy ways, probably, and maybe because I'm biased towards acts of service and words of affirmation, I'm thinking through just doing something thoughtful. It's just remembering someone's anniversary and then mentioning it feels really good.
Yeah. And I think, since I am sort of the authenticity focused person, I believe that if you go into something with genuine care, if you really take a moment and go, I'm going to wish this person a happy birthday, and genuinely care about that act and about that person and think about what's unique about them and why you have a relationship with them, that's where it can be really meaningful and not performative and not just like a task that you're checking off your list.
True. Those two values do go hand in hand. An act of kindness without authenticity isn't really that kind.
People see through it, right?
Right. It's almost better to do nothing than to be performative or
Yeah.
inauthentic. And in fact, because you asked the question at the very beginning, why does this even matter? Why are we even talking about it? I have two thoughts on that. One is on the upside, I think kindness is contagious. What if there was a kindness pandemic? How amazing would that
Right.
be? But the other reason why it matters, especially when we're talking about maybe biting your tongue or rethinking criticism or something negative before you say it, is at any given moment, 10 to 20% of the population is going through something kind of yucky. Mm-hmm. Withholding saying something critical, they may not know that was an act of kindness, but they will appreciate, I think in the end, they'll appreciate having just been given a little bit of grace.
There is an organization called the Random Acts of Kindness, and they have a website. And the premise there is a little bit like, just doing these little random things like can have profound impact. There's lots of goodness and goodies out there. There's things you can put on your Instagram or, other social media channels if you want to brighten people's days with that. And it goes deeper beyond that, but that's a good resource.
Yeah.
One other one that I've found and like is David Byrne from, of the Talking Heads fame. He started a website called Reasons to Be Cheerful. And it's named after being happy or cheerful, but if you read the examples and the stories that are in there, so many of the stories originate or revolve around, acts of kindness and care in our community. And it sometimes feels like we need reasons to be hopeful. And so having those reasons to be cheerful, good thing to check out as well.
That makes me think of Sean Aker, who has a TED Talk on positivity and happiness. He's a positive psychologist, which I think most psychologists actually study the negative side of human behavior.
Yeah, right.
That there's a lot of research that shows when we're happy, we do our best work. And so there's no reason to be kind. If your kindness creates a happier person on the other end of the exchange, then you're making the world a better place and more productive.
For sure. I mean, just that suggestion you had of smiling, I think that the studies show that the more that you smile, even if you're sort of faking it till you make it a little bit, that it actually can make you happier. So be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And take the opportunity on not just World Kindness Day, but any day to spread a little kindness around.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me, Brian.
Thank you for having me.